ओके, आवाज येत क्लिअर आहे ना? हां, ओके. हां, माईक बंद करते.
No, green.
क्या लक है मैडम का।
फ्लूक। जितना इलॉजिकल ये है उतना ही इलॉजिकल ये है।
नई नौकरी, वो भी सीनियर मैनेजर।
क्या लक है मैडम का।
करियर किस्मत से नहीं, मेहनत से।
Forgot my tools again.
Hello. Hello. Okay.
Hello, good evening, and a warm welcome to all the participants and viewers. Hi, Tanvi Burade is taking this honor to be your host for today's amazing tech event organized by Bitspace. Bitspace is a startup which provides services like web application along with Android and desktop applications, website development, and UI UX designing. Today, we are going to explore the future of robotics, and for that, we have with us Mr. Karan Patil, co founder at Sakar Robotics. Mr. Karan is working in robotics domain since 8 years, coach of Team India for World Skills competition, With his efforts, Team India achieved a medallion of excellence and jumped to fourth position from its previous record of 14th position in the last World Skills held at France. Currently, he is managing director of Sakar Robotics and working in the domain of construction automation. His startup is associated with IISC Bangalore, IIT Madras, and IIT Palakkad for various robotics projects. It's a pleasure to have such an expert with us for today's event. Thank you so much, sir. We are pleased to have you today. So, people, before we dive into the technology part, I have a few announcements to make. First, and the very most important announcement is that BitSpace is soon going to launch its very own product. So, we request you all to stay tuned for that. The second exciting announcement is that we have arranged a small quiz for our viewers, which, of course, I will let you know the details. So, stay tuned till the end of the event as we have surprise goodies for top three winners. And now, the last one. We will be having question answer round at the end of the session. So I would request everyone to note down your queries and put them in the comment sections and we'll take them accordingly. Thank you for patiently waiting. And now let's buckle up our belts to explore robotics. I would now like to hand over to Mr. Karan to begin. Thank you so much, sir. You can continue.
Thank you so much, Tanvi, and I'm happy to be here with BitSpace. So I'll share my screen. Just let me know whether it's visible, and then we can
Yes, sir.
get started. So is my screen
Cool.
visible? Yeah, and my
Yeah. Yes, sir.
am I audible clearly? Okay, great.
Yeah.
So hello, everyone. Thank you so much, BitSpace, for having me here. I am Karan Patil, as you all know, and today we are going to talk about robotics rising, how robotics is creating an impact in the society that we are living in, and how you can embrace it, whether you are from a technical background or not. But robotics is going to be a reality, and how your careers are going to impact it, and how you can cope up with it. So that's the agenda of today's entire session. First of all, what are robots? What do we know about robots? And if we go by the definition of robots, are we currently surrounded by these robots? So this is the curiosity that drives everyone, and we all know that robotics, we always term it something as part of future, but do you know that it is part of our present? So, in today's world, a lot of machines are already there working out as robots. But the typical mindset that we have for a particular robot is a human shaped machine which can replicate our actions. So, if you see on my screen, there are two important machines that are already commercially making a good success. The first one is Boston Dynamics Atlas robot. So that is a typical humanoid shaped machine which is going to replicate the human actions and is going to work in the environment. The second one that you see is a Tesla bot. So this Tesla bot is very much likely to be what we see as a human. It aesthetically looks good and can do more maneuverability than it is expected. But the Tesla bot has not been yet showcased pretty well. Limitations are there. But if we talk about the Boston Dynamics Atlas robot, we have all seen multiple videos revolving around that. So my question to you all is that are these really the robots? Or is there any other second category of robots that we don't know about? Or we know, but we don't know that we can call them a robot also. So if we go as a typical definition of a robot, it is a machine that that can carry out complex tasks and can be reprogrammed. So that is the ideal definition of a robot. So if I tell you pretty well how do you classify robots and how do you not classify robot, one can say that any machine that has an impact on physical quantity or physical environment can be called as a robot. So if we see our computer machine, the computer machine cannot do a environmental impact. When I say environmental, I mean the situation that you are in or at the physical state that is available. For example, your desk. So on your desk, a computer cannot pick up a paper and do some work on it. It can only work within its limitation of the screen or the software which is running on top of it. But if we call a robot, the robot has the capacity to impact the environment or impact physical objects, commodities, or physical things that are available. So if we say that a robot is sitting on top of my desk and it can shuffle between the pages that are available there to sort it out. That is definitely going to be a robot. So if you see on the screen, there are two looped videos that are playing. One is gray orange's robot butler, which you can see over here on screen, which moves various boxes in a factory environment. And the second one is typical, now available in many of the houses in India as well. It is a vacuum cleaning robot. It is a mopping and vacuum cleaning robot, which can work as an alternative to a fixed machine, which is vacuum cleaner. It can move around autonomously, it can move, and it can clear the mess that is there in the house. So that is also something that we call as a robot. But when we say that robots are coming up, how do we see them? What kind of robots are going to come in the future? So the concern that everyone also has is whether my job is going to be taken up by AI and robots. So just one step before the job concern, I would like to let you know that always the nature inspires the technology. It is a key rule that we have. Whether it is robotics, whether it is automobile, whether it is software, whether it is blockchain, you name any technology, it is always inspired by nature. So robotics is also one such technology which is inspired by nature. Now, when I say it is inspired by nature, the form factor, the shape, the task that it is going to do, it is going to be inspired by the current working principle. So if you see, Boston Dynamics has developed one robot which is Spot. It is a dog-shaped robot, or it is going to replicate the movements that a dog can do. And based on that, it can do several tasks. If I talk about a software technology, then the design part of it or the processes that they adopt are nature inspired. So if we talk about blockchain, decentralized technology, the decentralized technology comes into existence as some kind of a web or multimodal animal communication. So if we see ants or we see mosquitoes, the way they communicate, it is a decentralized and packet-based communication. They don't send their message in one go like humans do. They send small packets based on the nodding or the acknowledgement by other creatures or the counterpart. Then the next packet is sent. Similarly, in robotics, the inspiration comes from nature. So if we say the evolution of human is something like this, where all the human actions and the work that a human does can be replicated through a machine, which is a robot. So if we see the evolution of computers, we had big mainframe computers like ENIAC, which used to do only one operation at a time. And now today we have a small smartwatch that can do multiple work together. So we went from a special purpose machines to general purpose machines, where now in our smartphone we have all the general applications that are possible with a modern day computer or even a 10 years back or older computer with much more higher efficiency. Robotics is something that is similar. So we started off with a robotic arm, then we moved on with robots at home like the vacuum cleaning robot or the warehouse robot. But the end goal of this technological evolution would definitely be a creation of human-like machine, which is going to be a humanoid robot. So that is how the nature has inspired and has made the technology move fast. Also, when I say that nature inspires technology, you see all these sensors, hardware that is available in the market. It is what is a human's intervention or the nature's intervention into technology. So, if I talk about the cables that you see on the screen, the first image, it is like the veins that flow through human body. The veins carry blood. Similarly, the wires in technological world carry current that flows through it. When I say that there are ultrasonic sensors, they act similar to nose, where some sensing is available, or like eyes, where the distance can be calculated easily. If I talk about microcontroller, it is the brain that it tries to mimic. If you call the cameras, cameras are something like the vision sensors or the eyes that we have. Mic is something that ears can do. Speaker is something where our mouth is talking that can do. And when we talk about motors, it is the joints that can be acted upon. So you see, particularly the technology has always been trying to mimic what the nature has been doing. So based on that, the evolution carries forward. Now coming to the critical question whether robots are going to take away the jobs or not. If you say take away, I would differ with it. They are not going to take away the jobs, but they are going to impact the way we do our jobs. So if you see, when the computer revolution started, people were against computers. They did not want it. there were a lot of rebellion and revolts happened, as in India as well and abroad as well, where people were not accepting these devices. They said that with computers, their jobs will be gone. Definitely, the jobs have been gone in terms of efficiency. But if we tell anyone today that you cannot work without a computer or you have to work without a computer, largely everyone is going to say that you're crazy. We don't want to do it. They will not take up the job. If you tell them that you have to maintain the accounts on physical ledger instead of Excel sheet or some software, people are not going to accept it. That's the reality. Similarly, robotics is going to create a better workplace opportunity, bring efficiency to the work, but is not going to replace human beings as such. The types of jobs and the way we do our jobs is going to change, but the core concept of humans working and going forward taking job opportunities is going to be definitely there. So when I say an end goal or where the robots are going to take away the jobs, where the complete human intervention is going to go away, would definitely be defense and large scale risky dangerous disaster management jobs. So these are the jobs which we don't want people to do. We don't want people to fight on borders and fight against a machine. A machine can always be replaced, but a human cannot be replaced. Similarly, in excavation works or mining jobs or even disaster management jobs, the risk for life is very high. So there are the places where the takeaway of jobs is going to happen. But when we say that the jobs are going to be changed or modified and you will be co-working with robots, then these are the four core skill sets that each and every individual needs, whether you are from a technical background or you're not. You are going to need these four core skill sets in your life. Number one is creativity. How much ever drawings, how much ever paintwork, artwork, or any kind of form factor is developed through the help of robots or AI is not going to be a good acceptable format for anyone. The reason being, art needs imperfections. And when these machines bring in perfections, the art doesn't carry any value. The arts, if you see major worldwide artists and their arts, there will be some kind of imperfections which make the beauty out of it, which makes the art lively. This particular thing in robots or with the help of machines is not going to be the case. So creativity is something where humans will always need to intervene and bring out new styles, new ideas, new trends. When we talk about emotions, how much ever AI or machine is going to work, it cannot replace the emotions of a human being. For example, one job particularly which I believe that not any kind of AI or any kind of machine can change is the work of a aya or a baby nurse. The baby when it cries, only a human can understand or at least try to understand why the baby is crying, and based on few techniques can make the baby stop crying, can make it happy. But if we tell about a machine or if we try to automate the machine, in the next 70 to 80 years I don't see any machine doing that. Similarly, when we have some old people or aged people in our society and they need particular help, they don't just need help for their task, but they need help with their emotions as well. None of the machines are going to be capable of doing that, at least in the next 70 years, I'm talking about. So, that is the skill which every human being should have. Third one is social skills, where you need to talk to people, where you need to interact with people, and based on that, get your jobs done. For example, a machine cannot be a negotiator between Ukraine and Russia. You need people talking about it, you need people to negotiate in between them and stop the war. Fourth is intellectual. What after AI? What after robotics? That is not going to be the end of technological revolution. But there will be more things. Or even if we say that apocalypse is going to happen and AI and robots will take over the world, how to fight with them is going to be the human mind, not the machine mind. That's where the intellect will come in and intellectual jobs will take over. So these are the four skill sets that each and every individual should have. Saying this, now coming to the people who think that they would like to be robotics engineer. What do you need? What skill sets do you need? So there are three core engineering skill sets that a one person should have in some format so that he can become a good robotics engineer. You see, robotics engineering is an amalgamation of three core engineering fields: computer science, electronics, and mechanical engineering. So whatever skill sets are desired for these three job sets or these three professions are the ones that you will require to be a robotics engineer. So it's not that you will now only be focusing on one particular field, but you will need a approach where you can combine all these three skill sets to become a robotics engineer. So, at a nutshell, we say that AI, programming, mathematics, design, electronics, and manufacturing, these are the core fields. These are just limited core fields I'm talking about, where a robotics engineer can excel. But as I said, that when you talk about core robotics skill set, you have to consider the three engineering streams that I have talked about. When you amalgam them, then comes these six patterns where you can do robotics engineering. At the end, I would say that our future is where we work with the robots. Our future is something that robots will be an integral part of us, and replacing them or working without them will be highly impossible in the near future. So we have to accept this fact, work towards it, and enhance our skill sets. Thank you so much. We are open for questions.
Yes, sir. We will be taking the questions. Thank you so much for the amazing session that you have delivered today. I will begin with the questions. So the first one that we have is so the person wanted to ask about the possibilities of involvement of robotics in our daily life. As Python has become quite popular in the field of AI and data science, will we as a common individuals will be able to use that technology in near future and especially in India?
So the question says that where robots are going to be used in daily life, and something about Python. I am not sure about Python. What was it?
Yeah, he is asking that Python, as Python has become quite popular in field of AI and data science, so will
Mhm.
we be able to use Python as an individuals, or no? If we will be able to use Python as an individual in the technology in near future?
So, first question, where robots are going to be used in our daily life. The biggest example, as on today, you can go on Amazon and buy Xiaomi's vacuum cleaner robot. It costs 25,000 and it is there in multiple homes. That is the first robotics product that I can tell you that you can buy off the shelf immediately. So robots have become a reality, and slowly and steadily cooking, housekeeping, these activities will definitely be automated, and these will be coming into our daily lives. Even for that matter, there are startups who are working in autonomous taxis, so there will be driverless cars on road. That is robotics, nothing else but robotics. So that's where day to day life we will see the robots coming. uh, Python is an open source programming language, so anybody, anytime, anywhere can use it. There's no restriction on using it in day to day life. Python is a scripting language, so you can use it for AI, you can use it for data science, you can use it for animation, or you can use it for anything. It's a scripting language, so you can script it in with combination of any other programming languages. So yeah, there's no harm that is going to happen to
Okay,
Python.
cool. Thank you, sir.
Maybe the
So the
snake
next
can become
question
extinct,
is
but not the programming language.
definitely. Next we have is what is the future of AI, robotics, and job opportunities in that?
So I think I have covered in my presentation that
Yeah.
AI and robotics are very much correlated. Now, if you see, you cannot say that you are just one engineer. Like I'm an electronics engineer, I'm a mechanical engineer, maybe I'm a BCA or I'm a MCA. At the end of the day, now it is a field where you need to have knowledge of each and every domain. So you cannot restrict yourself saying that okay, I'm only an embedded engineer. An embedded engineer also needs a knowledge of AI, also needs a knowledge of automobile engineering. Without that, you cannot survive. So if you are expecting that you will only focus on one technology and move ahead, that's not possible. I'm sorry. You will have to have multiple domain knowledges with one core skill set. So if you are, let's say, a robotics engineer, in robotics engineering, you can select your specialization. Maybe you are a design robotics engineer. So you have a core skill set of design, but at the same time you will need to know programming, you will need to know electronics, you will need to know AI. So without that you cannot survive. The second thing is, be it any profession, even doctor, nurse, anything, programming is going to be there for everyone. So programming is something that each and every individual have to learn it. Even if they are non-technical background people, they will have to learn programming. Maybe the format will be different, the application will be different, but some sort of programming is going to be there in everyone's life.
Of course, as we all know that you cannot say that I'm done with learning. It is something which continues. It goes on and on. No?
Absolutely.
So similarly, we have another question which says that how do robotics competitions, like the first robotics competition, contributed in education and innovation?
Yeah. So competitions are very important, and that's how actually I started my career also. So the competitions got me into robotics basically. The competitions are there now. The competitions have reduced a lot because 9 years back when I was a student and I was participating, there were a lot of robotics competition and they were really killing it. Like, you had to think about those things. Now it's very common to make a line follower or a maze solver or even maybe a rover. Now there are rover challenges. So it's now become pretty easy to access resources, to watch YouTube videos of these tutorials and get it done. But initially, it all started with competitions, and the competitions were real problem killers. You did not have a lot of resources in the market or on the internet where you had to develop on your own, think about it, design from scratch, and build it. So the competitions like first robotics, world skills, these are the competitions which are still innovating. So when I say innovating, these are not the typical competitions where you just solve the maze or you just follow the line. These are all the college technical festival competitions today, which are not so good. They need to innovate on their problem statements. But if you are talking about first, if you are talking about Tech Fest IIT Bombay, there are very good challenges in robotics that people should start with. So if you are a student, if you are a person who needs to start learning with robotics, picking up competitions and preparing for them is the best step that you can take. It's the best or the only step that you can take for becoming a good robotics engineer.
Cool. That pretty much answers the question. Next we have is what are the safety measures that are taken to ensure that robots can work safely around humans?
Oh, can you repeat the question? I missed the first part.
Uh, what safety measures are taken to ensure that robots can work safely around the humans?
Okay. So there are certifying agencies like CE, ISI, uh, National Bureau Standards. Then there are some governing agencies like Robotics Institute of America. Then in India we have AICRA, All India Council for Robotics and Automation. So these are the councils which restrict people from going, on the dangerous path or planning for limiting the automation that is available, or maybe giving the standards to what automation can be done on what level. So there are levels of autonomy that are there in the market. There are levels of hardware integrations that you can do. So all these standards have been pretty well predefined. But if I talk about the core three robotics principle that are there by Isaac Asimov, the first says that a robot needs to always follow the instructions of human being. The second is that the robot should never kill a human being. And the third is that even if one is true, the second need not to be followed. So even if a human says that kill somebody, the robot should not follow it. So these are the three core principles on which any robotics developer should build their robots.
Okay, great. Next we have is what challenges do engineers face when designing robots for human robot interaction?
Okay, the challenges faced by engineers on developing human robot interaction. Uh, when we so I'm assuming that you are talking about humanoid robots, and I'll give an answer for the other types of robots also. So when we talk about humanoids, the human machine interaction or the human robot interaction should be without screens and mostly based on expressions, speech, and hearing capacity. So these are the 3 points of communication as human beings. So by expressions, I mean the facial, the hand gestures, all these are expressions of communication. When I say speech, it is the words that we tell, it whether it is monotonous or the placement of the words. And the third thing, hearing, is what inputs a human gives through his own language, and that getting interpreted by the machine. These are the challenges that humanoids are facing. So that's why if you see Atlas or even Tesla bot, they don't have any communication skills. You can program them to do a certain task, but they cannot talk to you, or there is very less human and machine interaction in those aspects. So the interaction over there is largely through expressions, and expression means the hand expressions or the camera sensing, not through mouth or hearing. They will not be able to hear, they'll not be able to talk, but they'll still be able to work based on what indications that you are giving, or based on whether they have completed the task or not. So the only source of communicating between them as on today is through programming. So you program them, they'll interpret the program, and they'll do the actions. If we talk about other kinds of machines like vacuum cleaning robot, warehouse robot, so there are for human robot or human machine interaction, there are screens available, there are programming capacities that are available, and even there are some kind of a dashboards available where on wirelessly or maybe wired way you can do the diagnostics. So little less challenges on the typical machine side, but more on the humanoid side.
Great. Next, we have is what ethical considerations are important when designing and deploying autonomous robots in society.
Isaac Asimov's 3 law. That's the only ethical uh, rule that we need to follow. The other one could be from mine that I can give an input is that don't over automate. Like in India, we have a tendency of following, uh, you know, whatever you see, you try to overdo it, not do it, but overdo it. So it's not necessary. Solve real problems. So like people develop robot for killing switch when they are on bed. That's not necessary. You can use IoT. No need to develop a robot that can just go and make the switch turn off. There are other sources of technology. Don't overdo it. Solve a real problem. It was just an example. I don't know. Nobody is doing that. But when you are finding some ethical ways of doing technology, the most ethical way is that you find a social problem, which is very impactful. Like I told you, right? Our soldiers. Don't need to send our soldiers on the border to fight. Whenever the situation comes, we need machines to fight. We cannot replace our soldiers' life, but a robot can always be replaced, or the cost can always be recovered. It's not so much high. Nothing can cost more than a human life. So that is where the ethical part comes in, that we need to automate for real problems and not for assumed or lazy problems. That is the ethical constraint that everyone can follow.
Of course, that's absolutely right. You can never replace a human, but you can recover the robot's costing. Okay,
Yeah,
so we have time for last two questions, and the second last one is, can you explain the concept of singularity in the context of robotics and AI?
I'm sorry, I'm not aware of it.
Okay, so the next one is, how are drones considered a type of robot and what are their diverse applications?
So, the first slide on my presentation, what are robots? I told you that any machine that can do or impact the physical environment is a robot. Drones are aerial robots, so they have the capacity to travel vertically as well. So, if we see typical machines, they can only travel horizontally on one plane. But if we talk about drones, they can travel in 3D plane. They can go up also, and on the XY coordinates also. So drones are the aerial types of robots, and if we talk about ground robots, they are the ground robots. They can only travel from x and y coordinates. Now drones and the ground robots, there's not much difference in terms of hardware. Motors are used, rotors are used, design needs to be done, batteries are used, controllers are used. So technologically both are same, but when we talk about the logic programming, that is completely different. When we talk about the applications, applications could be similar. For example, we need to paint a building. So since we are into construction robotics, I can tell you that we need to paint a building. So outside of the building can be easily painted with a drone. So that's a vertical area that we are talking about. There's a z-axis and the skyscrapers are there. So if we need to clean the windows on skyscrapers, or we need to paint the building, drones are perfect examples for that. You can do that. But when we go inside the building and we need to do, so the size or the height of flats are very low. Their ground-based 2D machines can act better. So that's where the typical ground robots can come into picture. Drones is a fraternity of robotics. Robotics is a fraternity of AI.
Great. So we move to the last question. What emerging advancements or trends in robotic do you believe have the potential to significantly impact various industries in the next decade?
Okay. So this decade in robotics is going to be for construction and agriculture, because largely in the past, uh, let's say 3 decades, robots have already disrupted warehousing, material handling, and automobile industry. So these are the three industries. If we go now, you can see that there is very less human intervention. The jobs have become much better than before. So warehousing application, people used to carry 1,000 kgs of load every day. So maybe 100 kgs of bags 10 times a day with their back pains and everything. That was a reality in automobile industry. People used to drag the cars, or they used to carry the doors or other material in the industry, and they used to move that. But it has been completely automated now. Now people are operating it, or people are supervising these machines, and the workspace have become much safer to do, and less on the human health side. Now the same challenges we are observing in the construction and agricultural industry. First of all, getting skilled people doing construction activities and even agricultural activities has become very difficult. People have got better opportunities, education has lifted, so getting people to do these jobs at a lower rate has become very hard. That is one trend that has been observed. Second is that these places are not safe to do work by humans as of today. Construction activities, if you see, we are building vertical buildings. So now minimum, if you go to metro cities or even for the tier 2 cities, the minimum floors now are 15. Everyone is building above 15 floors. So hanging people on top of it or getting people to do so much of work is difficult. So that's why automation is there. On agricultural fields, pesticides have a very harmful impact. Even identifying proper weeds in an existing crop is very difficult. Human eyes are not so accurate. So these are the two industries where, in the next, not 1 decade, but 1.5 or 2 decades, it is going to be automated.
Nice. It all sounds so amazing. So, so that was the last question. I, on behalf of entire BitSpace team, would take this up honor to thank you, sir, for such an amazing session. And I'm sure our audience has grabbed enough knowledge about robotics and the future of robotics. So it is an honor to have you today. Thank you so much, sir. We are
Thank you.
pleased to
Thank you
have
so much.
more sessions with you.
Definitely. I look forward to it. Yeah. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Tanvi.
sir.
Yeah. Take
Yeah,
care.
you're welcome.
Bye.
Yeah, same to you. Have a good evening.
Good
Bye bye.
evening.
So, audience, let's not end the call. We have some announcements for you. So, as promised, we will be going to choose top three winners about the quiz that I have mentioned in the first starting of the session. That I'll be announced it at the end. So, the ones who have registered for the session today are going to get the quiz on their mails itself, the registered mails that you have registered with our team. So, you will be getting a mail regarding the quiz, and you have to answer the quiz. The quiz link will be live only for the next 12 hours, so make sure you answer it within the deadline. And basis on the answers that you have provided, we will be choosing top three winners. And the top three winners are going to get some special goodies from BitSpace. So I hope you all give your best and you rock the quiz. Also, about the product that we are going to launch, stay tuned for that product launching. We will be shortly letting you know about the product launching on our Instagram handles and social media handles. Thank you so much, guys, for attending today's session, and I wish you all the best for the quiz. And we are excited to see who our top three winners are. Thank you so much.